Hi, it's Anya. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's time for my January reading wrap-up. I don't think this video will be too long because I didn't read that many books. I actually didn't read... I read 5, technically. We'll get into that. I'll explain it all to you. Last year, I think I read 52 books. This year I put my reading goal as 80. I was going to do like 60, but I think 80 is a good number. And I want to read a lot of books, because I want to get through my physical TBR. And also there's so many books I want to read, and I love having a number. I know, I've seen so many people like, I'm not going to do a reading goal because it puts a number on it. Like, I'm not reading books just to get to a certain number. But I'm putting that number because that makes more sense in my brain. Because I like having things organized like that. Like, everything needs something. That's just how I work, and I love my little reading goals. And last year, like I said, I read 52 books and I was in a lot of reading slumps. So I'm hoping that this year won't have any reading slumps, at least not big ones, so that I can read and just enjoy. So, let's get into it. The first book I read was actually an ebook. It was free on Simon Teen. I'm so happy that I discovered Simon Teen and their free ebook selection in December. So in January I had to go through them, but this was a novella. It's called The Priest and the Shepherd, and it's like a prequel novella to Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. And Foul Lady Fortune was a book I was never expecting to read. Like, I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I just never had any interest in it until I read this book. I couldn't sleep one night, so I just decided to go through the novella selection and just choose one. So then I didn't have to commit to a book, but I had something to do. Read it, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to read Foul Lady Fortune. Unfortunately, I'm on a book buying ban, and also on a series starting ban until I finish some series. I've made this rule for myself that I have to finish 2 series before I can start another one, because I'm in the middle of almost 30 series. The Foul Lady Fortune. What I think of that is, yeah, like I just said, did I rate it? Goodreads is not working. Anyways, I don't know what I rated it. I don't remember, because I rate novellas differently than I do normal books, just because it's so much shorter. But like, this was about a character. It was a child who was in, I think it was a boarding school, or if it's just like a housing. I don't know exactly what it was, but she learned like to fight, and her mom was going away. Like, they didn't live with their parents, and it was kind of a little love story with her brother's roommate, but not like a... It wasn't a romance. I'm just gonna say that. It wasn't a romance, but it was just the relationship. I don't know if it was like romantic or just like platonic, but it felt romantic to me between those two characters, and I really enjoyed that. And like seeing them evolve, and also seeing the little character development and the story of the main girl. I rated it 4 stars, which is pretty good for a novella. I feel like most novellas get a 3-star from me, just because I don't know how to rate them. But because it made me want to read a book I was planning on not reading, I really recommend it. I really liked it. And then, next book I read was a children's book. It's called Når alle sover. I'm in university to become a kindergarten teacher, so I had... What was I trying to say? I had an exam in November. I had an exam in November, so I borrowed a book from the library. I didn't end up using it for my exam, but I decided to read it in January, just because it's good for me to have a knowledge of different children's books when I get into like the kindergartens. I'm currently in a kindergarten working. 1 week done, 2 more weeks. It's fun. Goodreads is being crazy. Did not rate that book because it's a children's book. I don't know. I didn't read it for me. I did, but like for school and for my career, not for enjoyment. Then the next book I read was The Murder on the Links by Agatha Christie. This is the second book in the Poirot series. I watched a bit of Poirot when I was younger, loved the British crime shows, and I've decided to pick up the series in the books and like read them. I read the first one late last year and I really enjoyed it. I think I like this one even more. I rated this one 4 stars. I actually rated it something more, 4 point something. I don't have, like, I hate that the decimals aren't on Goodreads because I can't remember, but I know I rated it more than a 4 star. Here we go. I think I rated it a 4.25. But I really enjoyed this story. This one was a bit different. I didn't write down the decimals. Whatever, I'm getting too hung up on this, it doesn't matter. This one is about Poirot, who gets a letter from a person who lives in France asking him to come help him because he thinks someone's going to kill him. But then when he gets there, the man is already dead. He's found dead on a golf course by his house. And I'm just gonna make sure I'm not spoiling anything. Okay, I'm not gonna say that because it wasn't on the back, but there's a different detective here this time. It's like Poirot and Hastings, the French police, and another one. And it's like kind of a little subplot of a rivalry between Poirot and this other detective. And Hastings, I've like heard a lot about this other detective and he's kind of fangirling a bit, and then you see the dynamic between those. I really love this book. There was times I wish I tabbed it. I remember sitting downstairs reading it on the couch. My mom was sitting there and I was like, read this, it's funny. I was laughing, which I wasn't expecting, but it was funny. And I love Poirot as a character. Just the things he say and the way he acts. I just love him and it makes it so much fun. And I said this when I read the first book in the series as well, but I really enjoy that it's told through Hastings' eyes. Like we learn things at the same time he does. Instead of like getting the internal thoughts of Poirot, we get the internal thoughts of Hastings. So like everything that Poirot reveals to the rest of the characters, we learn with them, which I really enjoy. And the crime, I could not solve it. Parts of it I could understand and solve, but like the ending, I didn't expect it. Like, whatever, I'm not gonna get too much into it. I'm gonna read the back of it just in case I didn't explain it very good, but it says, an urgent cry for help brings Poirot to France, but he arrives too late to save his client, whose brutally stabbed body now lies face downwards in a shallow grave on a golf course. But why is the dead man wearing his son's overcoat? And who was the impassioned love letter in the pocket for? Before Poirot can answer these questions, the case is turned upside down by the discovery of a second identically murdered corpse. I really enjoy this book and I'm so excited to continue the series. I have the next 2 books and I will be reading them soon. Then, what can I say about this? I don't think I wrote anything down about this book. I have a notes page. I didn't. But then the next book was also a free ebook on Simonteen, and that was Betting on You by Lynn Painter. And what can I say about this? Lynn Painter never disappoints. I gave this book 5 stars. I need to buy it. Which, one thing I hate about reading ebooks, when I've already read it, I can't justify buying the book. So that's heartbreaking because I need that book on my shelf because it's so good. Like, Better Than the Movies was one of my favorite books. This one was even better. I'm gonna look at my notes and see my little review I wrote down here. I am obsessed with this book. I hated Charlie in the first 2 meetings, but at the job I started liking him. And at the house and at the party, after the party, I am obsessed. I love that it's vulnerable and that she can tell. I hope he opens up to her. I love them. My favorite Lynn Painter book. My favorite YA romance, and I'm not even halfway through. I enjoy writing down little things as I read the book. But then now that I've finished the book, I can just say that this book did not disappoint. Oh my god! basically the book is about two characters who meet on a plane when they're flying, obviously, to the same place. But then it's kind of like a rivalry. They hate each other, well, the girl hates him at least, and he's being like annoying. And then they meet again later when they're both on dates. And then on the third time they meet, they are applying at the same job and they got the same job, so they meet during training. And then they start hanging out with her best friend and someone she knows. And eventually they like talk to each other, they make a bet. And she goes through a lot with her family, and he does as well. They bond over the fact that they're both children of divorce. Eventually, he decides to help her with kind of ruining her mother's relationship. She doesn't want to ruin the relationship, but she doesn't want her mother's boyfriend to ruin their lives. There's a little fake dating thing. I'm not going to say anymore because I'm afraid I'm going to spoil something, but I am obsessed with Charlie. Charlie and Bailey is probably one of my favorite book couples, and Charlie is just so amazing. And I'm obsessed with this book, and I need to read more of Wim Painter's books. So can we please get the Better Than the Movies sequel right now? Please and thank you. Moving on to the last book I read in January. A Court of Mist and Fury by the one and only Sarah J. Maas. I don't even know where to begin. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series. I really enjoyed the first one. I think I gave that 4 stars or something. Wasn't expecting to like this one, because in the first one I absolutely hated Reese with every fiber of my body. He did redeem himself a little bit at the end, but in this one, oh my god, I've never met a more infuriating character than Tamlin. So thankfully Reese was there, and I love that man. I love that man more than anyone, because oh my god, the way he talks to Feyre, the way he acts around her, the way he is a fucking High Lord, and he still treats people the way he does. Like, he's such an amazing person, and that's something I didn't think I was ever gonna say. But I love that man, and I love this book. I was tabbing it quite a lot. I don't even know if you can see all of them, because I'm really bad at putting them in. But I ran out of green tabs on every single thing I had, so now I need to buy more, because there's no one left. I had to end up using the yellow ones at the end here, because I didn't have any more, because I'm so obsessed with this book. Like, even like halfway through, I was just thinking about when I could reread it. I want to reread it so bad, but I also want to finish the series. But I want to reread this book right now. Like, just looking at my tabs, anything. I love him so much. And I just love that he's not afraid to be vulnerable. Like, this is a High Lord. This is a very up there fighting man. And he's so vulnerable with her. And I just love it. I love it. I don't know what else to say about this. I'm obsessed with that book. It is my favorite book I have ever read. And that hurts to admit, because there's books I want to love more, but I can't because I'm so obsessed with this book. Like, I want to buy another set of ACOTAR books just so I can read them and annotate them again. Because on this one I just use green tabs. They're different colors because I ran out of tabs, but like, I want to tab it and do like what is it called, world building, different characters, friendship, those kinds of things, and like go really in depth. But I also don't want to take these tabs out because I'm so obsessed, and I'm so happy I read it. I can't believe I haven't read it sooner. But I love this book so much, and I'm so excited to continue the series. Sarah J. Maas, her writing is, I don't even know how to explain it because it's so fun. It's so easy to read. I don't have to think, even though there's so much going on. And with the plot, I'm kind of contradicting myself, but there's so much going on while nothing is going on. So like, even in the moments where nothing is happening, so much is happening. And I just don't understand how she can put that into a book without making it either really tiring and hard to read and heavy on the brain, or make it not make sense, but she doesn't do any of that. It's so easy and simple, and it's fast paced. Like, usually I would like read 30 pages, then go on my phone, maybe read another 10, then go on my phone, pick up the book 4 days later. But with this one I could sit and read 200 pages at a time, and the only reason I stopped was because I had to go to bed. And even though I wanted to stay up all night read it, I just couldn't because I had to wake up early the next morning, and I actually have responsibilities. But this book, I could have read it. Like, I think I was on like page 170. Up until then I was like, I really like the book, but it's not that amazing. But after that I could not put the book down. And I want to read this book again. So bad. I love it. I opened the book again with one of my tabs, and it melts my heart every time. I'm so excited to continue this series and continue all of Sarah J Maas's books. But I did start Beach Read. How far in am I? I'm on page 92. I'm really enjoying it. Wasn't expecting to. Kind of thought I would. Like, I didn't think it would be bad, but I just didn't think it would be my style. Because the way people have talked about it, I just didn't feel like it was for me. But I've been tabbing it, matching it to the cover. This book is about January and Gus, who are 2 authors. Kind of rivals. I'm not sure. He doesn't know they're rivals. They kind of hate on each other's genres. That's not what they're doing. They're just talking. But there's a little rivalry going on. But then they agree to write each other's genres because they're both kind of in a writing slump, can't get anything done, but they need to get their books done. And they make this little bet, kind of, that the other person can't write a good book in the other person's genre. And then that's how far I've gotten. That's the story. That's what it says on the back, and that's how far I've gotten in the story. So I will talk more about that in my February wrap-up. But that's it for this video. I'm gonna wrap this up and then just film my February TBR so that I can start reading for the month. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know if there's any videos you would like to see. That's it for now. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, lovers.